State your full name.
Oh, my full name?
Yeah.
Not my, okay. Honorable Bob Kelrod Jr. Sr. III, also known as Fresh Cup O. Joe Allard.
Really?
The latter, yes, is really, yes.
Oh, so your full name is Joe? That's what's on the
Okay,
birth
fuck
certificate?
you. It's Joseph Michael Allard. There. Now I'm gonna fucking... Let's... Identity thieves are just gonna run amok now.
Okay.
Want my social security number too?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
okay.
386. You can figure out the other ones.
So, why am I holding a camera on you?
Well, because we were assigned a project to do a documentary, and I think if you're going to do a documentary, you might as well do it as pretentiously as possible, and let's make it about me, and you, and the other one.
The other one?
Joe and Vince and Desiree.
Okay, good. And what's the idea behind the documentary?
We are going to talk a little bit about stand-up comedy, writing comedy in general, really. But the focus of this is really stand-up. And we're going to be documenting the whole process of workshopping it with each other and then ultimately performing it and sobbing alone later.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, Joe. Nobody is gonna want to watch that.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I never said I was funny, and I never said that it was a good idea for me to be in comedy. I have no other viable skills. What am I supposed to do? I can make people laugh, apparently. And...
Yeah, when are you gonna start doing that, by the way?
In a minute, if you shut the fuck up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I couldn't help it.
It's all me. I'm a genius. But, no.
The script became a shitty movie, therefore it is the script for a shitty movie. Ah!
It's not like I was 6 years old going to say, "Hiya, folks, here's a joke for you," and then they just beat me down. I don't think. The moon is a funny thing. It comes out during the day sometimes, and I don't like that.
That's it, I'm out. No.
None of you are allowed in this. Not at all.
What's the window break this last?
Nope.
Fucking extortion is what it is.
Sweet, somebody get me a fluffer and a cocktail.
Which chart I won't say. You know, being a rock star is kind of fun.
There it is.
Think I'll keep the
Okay, is that recording? Yep. Okay, it's recording. Is that one recording?
Will be.
State your name and claimed profession.
I am Joe Fresh Cup O. Joe Allard.
I'm Desiree Freeman, also known as Aces, I suppose.
My name is Vincent Hughes, and I am a wannabe filmmaker / comedy writer.
I claim to be a comedy writer.
And I do funny things sometimes, and no one gives me money.
I guess the reason that I wanted to do this, why this idea sort of stuck out, was in my formative years, as you could call them, I guess people said that I should try it. Like, that was, I can remember that being a constant recommendation.
It's something that I've wanted to try for a long time, and I don't know if I can do it, so it feels like a no-pressure thing, even though there's still the chance of me not doing well.
I actually made a bet that I might be a pretty snazzy comedy writer, but there's no way I could probably write good jokes, but the delivery would be, would lead to folly on stage, as it were.
Like, I didn't actually sit down and write comedies until very recently with my writing partner, Joe Allard.
Joe, I actually hung out with randomly after we met in a class, my first class at Mott, and we didn't talk much. First thing we talked about was Conan, I think. So, of course.
You know, I remember the exact first moment that I saw Joe, and I don't know if he remembers this very well because he has a shit memory. But when I would hang out with Joe's brother, there was a guy sitting in the living room on a couch, just sort of quietly and solemnly not moving, just sort of staring ahead, dead-eyed. And I did not know it at the time because I was not introduced, but that was Joe.
He is a good person. He's really intelligent.
Oh, there he goes, running down the street. You killed my mom! You shot my mom!
Creative.
Shit comes to me, I would say, more often than not. And by that I mean more often than not shit comes to me as opposed to me seeing something and trying to make it funny. Because shit doesn't come to me that often. I'm funny about 12% of the time is what I'm trying to say here.
Mel Brooks. He's Mel Brooks-esque. He's got a couple of different speeds because he can make you laugh with like a pie in the face, banana peel slip gag. But he's also really cerebral and dry and Stephen Wright-esque when you meet him personally. So it's a nice dichotomy.
Again, I should be writing right now, but I'm a sad, lazy asshole.
Joey's sense of humor and comedic style is really mature. Like, people not in our age group would probably not understand as much say as somebody a few years older. It's not a bad thing, though.
Can you see that guy?
Mm-hmm.
So John Wayne Gacy is my State Farm agent. It's good to know. If I ever need clown costumes, I guess go right to him. He's probably got knives, too.
The kid is honestly brilliant when he wants to be, and he's a world beater if he really wants to be. But he's got a slight lack of motivation. That's his biggest issue.
None of this feels funny to me at all anymore. I want to just get rid of it all and write something completely new. But that's just so much work.
He is fun to be around when he's not sad.
When I'm sad and lonely, I call dead people. That's what I do. Spam at 932. Hello, Innocenzo Manzetti. You stink, see? People want telephones, see? That's what they want. Hello, Ford's Theater. I hear there's mystery afoot. You'd better stop that actor from getting on stage now.
He doesn't do stupid voices. He doesn't require puppetry.
This is the puppet that closes my act.
Fast forward to, a few months later, we hung out to see the Conan O'Brien documentary.
I invited a bunch of people to come see Conan O'Brien Can't Stop at the Art Theater in Detroit. And she was the only one who showed up to the carpool.
I went to school with Des for a few years, and I knew of her, but I did not know her explicitly. I guess I sort of met her formally through Joe Allard, who hung out with her first.
We were both roped into doing a stupid project, and everyone just kind of left the room.
We ended up being left alone at someone's house, and we just had an awkward off until until we got into some semblance of a conversation.
And she's always fun to hang out with, and she's, as I said, very clever. So yeah, I guess it's still sort of a friendship in the making.
Ever since we were little, she's always had her different opinions on stuff, and she's always been a lot maturer than her own age and stuff like that, and she's always been different in her own way.
I hang out with all these computers. All these robots are my friends.
I've seen a lot of Desiree's comedic abilities. We used to write skits together in high school, and I feel like there isn't really anything that doesn't make her laugh.
Hipster dog, hipster dog. Drinking PBR, it's hipster dog. Look at him.
She's got that sting, I guess you could say, that like no one else would ever think of. She just says the random stuff that no one ever wants to say or could think about saying.
How come the black one's the evil one? I just want to know. It's evil Negro Smurf. I'm sad. Sad inside.
It's genuine. She jokes about things that happen in everyday life.
Every semester on campus, these guys hand out these pocket Bibles, and I actually ended up getting one this semester. Usually everybody just kind of dodges them. But I had one this semester, and it's Psalms and Proverbs, and I wondered if I hit like every guy on campus, could I collect all 66 books? And if I did, would I then be able to level up to disciple? Who's to say?
Just the sense of differenceness, if that's a word, if that's what you want to call that, and just how different she is with the way she comes out at things, and just she brings in like realness into whatever she says, and like makes it funny.
In that area, that field, there's just weird. That's the line. There's a thin line, there's normal, and there's weird, and I'm over there in weird.
I knew her as, wow, she looks familiar, because she was.
Vince, we actually went to high school together, even though we only knew of each other.
I know him, curiously enough, through my brother. By chance, it was just, like we had a class together, and I was, you're Nick's friend, and he said, yeah, that's right.
And I had a class with him, I think a year or two later, and we just started talking from there. We would riff on movies that we watched in class. Eventually, we decided to hang out at his place. We started writing more, and a pretty good friendship sort of came out of that.
Vince is a lot of deadpan, but he can be random too. He doesn't like to show it, but he can make anything funny.
I would love it if the KKK just turned their priorities from hating all ethnicities to just really supporting Matt Lauer in everything he does. Matt Lauer! Matt Lauer! Matt Lauer's on all of their fucking posters and flags. Matt Lauer's got a new book coming out. You gotta be sure to go buy it. Support Lauer Brotherhood. Matt Lauer.
He's a very lame human being, but he's a nice guy.
This is the only time in my life where I wish that a 3-year-old had a Facebook, because I don't know any other way I'm supposed to wish her a happy birthday.
His sense of humor is dry. His comedic style is that of a towel. Very dry. If he were a towel, I would buy it dry. He's one of those, like, kick the bucket and then a pail falls over kind of guys, where you just kind of look at the pail and question who's got to clean that up. And let's just call the towel guy.
I would just charge a low fee, like $3. You're in, or $2. Then you can get those fancy $2 bills. People use those, right?
No.
It was really just me hanging out with a group of people that he was a part of, and the more I hung out with Joe, I hung out with Vince.
And from that blossomed the beautiful friendship that we have today. Okay, no.
Okay, so what just happened in there? What did we just do?
We possibly set up our comedy
Showcase.
Showcase.
We had a meeting with Andy, that was his name?
Andy Susky, son of Susky Chevrolets.
What can I do for you guys? How can I benefit you guys, basically?
Well, what we're looking to do is we want to perform a comedy show over in your sweet eye.
Yes.
And basically,
We're trying to do stand-up comedy for the first time. That's what this documentary is sort of about. None of us have done stand-up before, and this is sort of an experiment to see, A, if we'll be any good at it, and B, to sort of document the process of writing, practicing, and ultimately performing it. He said that he thought the comedy show was a good idea.
I like the idea and I want to make it work, and I will do some research on the price and what this could be worth, and you know, because we always want to make sure we're trying to capitalize on the best dollar amount we can get without shooting ourselves in the foot and turning
Right.
people away.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any questions?
And in addition to just the show, he wants to make it a full comedy club thing, like we regularly perform until, or, you know, we could regularly, you know, if we're not funny, we could just regularly suck, and then.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the part that worries me.
And then Joe walks right back down to Suicide Lane.
Yeah, exactly. Joe takes another stroll down Suicide Lane.
Because I suck monthly instead of just
Yeah.
the one time.
All that sounds
It turned out better than
much more
expected, really.
positive than we were expecting.
Yeah, we were worried.
Yeah, we were all taking bets out.
Now we're
Hall.
starting.
Okay,
practically
how
just-
hard is he going to throw us out of here?
Right.
And it's
No.
like,
Yeah, so
amateurs,
can we maybe get one short show? Now it's, let's start up a comedy club.
We've got to go back to the drawing board now, and now we actually have to work on 15 minutes apiece. So, this will be fun.
And cut to workshop. Boom. Hold on. Ba-bam. And reposition.
Yeah, this first bit is what I'm really not confident about, because it seems really long, and I don't have enough jokes to fill it.
I would say that out of the people actually involved in this particular experiment, out of the 3 people, that I am the least funny.
I was a nerd my whole life. I had the solitary lifestyle. I had trouble connecting with others. The only thing I didn't really have was the physical or mental abuse from other kids. But that was mostly thanks to the fact that I was tall and fat as a kid, so I suspect the other kids thought I would eat them. And to be fair, I totally would have fucking ate those kids. I would have ate the shit out of them. But I mean that then, like not now. Like I don't currently wish I could have ate them, but back then I would have ate the shit out of them. For some reason, the thought of a kid eating another kid is slightly better than an adult eating a kid. Like when you think about it, it's the same act, but when you think of an adult doing it, you think, oh, what a monster. When you hear about kids, like they're strapped on a desert island, and for some reason one kid eats another, you're like, oh, well, maybe they were playing Lord of the Flies.
I would say that my comedy style is very bare bones, at least as far as having a joke that has a setup and a payoff.
If you're ever trapped on a desert island with kids, you gotta let them eat. That's just the way it is. Let the kids win. That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna have an urge to govern them because
you're gonna have an urge to try and take control, but do a serious self-assessment.
you know what my favorite part is of the remake they did of
What?
Lord of the Flies in the 80s?
What?
I'm missing Alf right now. Remember when they say that when they're around the fights? I think it's Piggy's line. He's like, Alf would be on tonight.
Because Joe's like, yeah, what?
It
would, man.
Monday nights at 8 p.m.
And as for Joe, it's all puns and nonsense words, really.
Okay. Alrighty. Now we get to watch a piece of my soul die as I pretend to be happy and approachable. Alright, so, I'm Joe.
Joe is very random and off the cuff, and he describes his stuff as mundane, but he makes it funny.
Okay, so I'm single. Big surprise, I know. I'm just this virile young slab of man meat. How could I ever be single?
I bet.
But okay, let's be fair. If I'm a slab of anything, it's a McRib. I'd like to write toward humor of the mundane as much as I can, but I realize that doesn't always come off as funny. One thing that's fun to do is, like, make a silly situation really mundane. My body looks sort of like, you know those smiley face breakfast plates? Yeah, it sort of looks like one of those, only the 2 fried eggs are like the first fried eggs you ever tried to make when you were like 7 years old. And let's face it, the breakfast is not smiling at this point. He is no longer happy. He clearly is just, he's damaged somehow. Like, my body looks like a breakfast that had a stroke. Or, like, the breakfast maybe got all depressed and traumatized when they stumbled upon their best friend's suicidal corpse. He's just in a constant state of shock and depression, so So yeah, that is my body. Just an emotionally disturbed combination plate. Least likely to bomb, I think, is Des. Because the material that she has that I've seen would work well. Like, it has a very good flow as stand-up material.
One of my friends even offered to get me a vibrator, which didn't make any sense to me. No, I'm not interested in banging any people, but yeah, I'll take one of those shivering nightsticks. Awesome. And those things are shaped like nightmares, by the way. So my friend offered to buy me one, and she asked if I'd use it. And just to mess with her, I said yes. But what I didn't tell her was that I would use it to fuck with the loud neighbors downstairs, and I'd just switch it on at 4 in the morning, just touch it to the floor. They wouldn't know what the hell was going on. And then the next day, they couldn't be mad at me, you know, because it sounds like I had an awesome time the night before.
Unlike Joe and I, Des isn't dumb about her comedy in the sense that she doesn't like to say things unless she's certain that it will be funny. Whereas Joe and I have little regard for whether or not what we say is funny. We'll just keep saying things until we find something that's funny. And I've always admired that with Des because it paints her in a much more positive and intelligent light, because she doesn't waste her time on jokes that could hit or miss. She's just constantly looking for the hit.
We were watching Alf, and then they were trying to, like...
Oh, is it when Willie and his wife were trying to fuck?
Yeah.
And the
See,
puppet's
I can't
watching?
say it. I can't say
You can't even say...
Say it. Say it.
No.
Say when Willie and his wife were trying to fuck.
This is peer pressure, I won't have it. When Willie was trying to offer his wife intercourse, and she decided her book
For some
was
reason, that's creepier.
I know.
Like he's going door to door, just going, Madam, I have an interesting proposition for you
it's
today.
Willie, though, so he's just, hello. I was wondering if you would, would you be interested in, intercourse?
Is that not how they got together? I'm amazed. I don't know how this works.
I told Joe, and he related to Vince, that I thought they were funnier than I was. And that's one thing that I always struggle with is I feel like I always have to be faster with a joke or funnier than I am. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they have something that that I don't bring to the table.
Okay.
Oh, you underestimated the
yeah.
amount of time.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can't do like the bit or my set, straight on through because I don't have my notebook. But yeah, it's basically the same set, but now with 10% more ace jokes. Comedy for me is just a way of dealing with stuff. So then I lead into the story about the friend trying to give me a vibrator, and then I wrote a new bit in there, and it's like, she asked me what I would do with it, and then I just started to feel like I was a science experiment. Like she was just gonna leave it on my nightstand and then watch me like a Steve Irwin kind of thing. And she'd be like, "All right,
I would change Steve Irwin to Bill Nye.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Or Jeff Corwin. What is he
I
gonna
think it should be
do?
someone who's alive. Is my point here.
Maybe Jeff Corwin. I don't think Bear Grylls investigates anything. He just
Jack Hanna would be
survives.
funny.
It's kind of difficult to make friends and build relationships with people. I guess I'm kind of a sad person in general, but I tend to hide that. And that's where the comedy comes in. Like she's watching me, and then she would just put it on my nightstand, and then stand behind, like two-way glass. She'd be like, "All right, we're watching the female asexual in a natural habitat." Oh, okay. She spotted the vibrator we put. What?
You need to describe the natural habitat. A small hut made out of pillow beds.
Yes. I didn't get into comedy with the impression that I am funny. I tend to put other comedians that I look up to, and even my peers that I know are funnier than I am, like on a pedestal, I came up with a Latin name. I don't remember what the first one was, but it was like, we're viewing the asexual female, or ladies not allowed on this, or something like that. I wasn't sure if it would work or not, but it's like that. Some of the stuff I talk about is actually very personal, and that makes it scary even. So she's like, all right, she spotted the vibrator that we planted on the nightstand. Oh, she's going towards it. She's going to pick it up. Oh, she's going to switch it on. Oh, she wasn't expecting it to do that. Oh.
What is this vibrator doing is my question now.
If you just turn it on, it's like, well, what the I'm assuming.
It's like one of those
Good
Force
cover.
FX lightsabers at Toys R Us.
She's
man.
not asexual. She knows how a vibrator works.
A majority of my comedy comes from real life because it's just me like trying to make sense of something in my life or to talk something out, and it just happens to be funny.
I wasn't one of those people who was just like, oh, I always wanted to make people laugh. I always wanted to be an entertainer. I was the class clown. And no, I was a very sad and angry child because, I don't know, I guess I didn't get along with people, and people, more importantly, didn't get along with me.
This is the first long-term relationship I've ever been in. And in this relationship, I've realized a few things. First off, I realized that relationships are all about saying, look, I want to monopolize all of your time. It would make me unhappy on a personal level to see you spending an inordinate amount of time with anybody who is not currently or in the future will be me.
What essentially happened was I grew bitter and angry and did not interact well with people. I mean, you know, I had the occasional friend, but those were as superficial as friendships could possibly be. And I guess whenever I wasn't around people, when I was just around my family, I didn't want to be that. I always tried to keep that separate. There was two people that I was on a daily basis. There was the person that I pretended to be whenever I was in public, and then there was me, the person that I liked being, and I got to be that at home.
For the first year, I was technically cheating, and I can tell it's confusing to some people, so let me explain. My last relationship never technically ended. Like, has that ever happened to you? Where at a point you're just too fucking lazy to try and talk to them? Like, you know, I could call, but I figured, fuck it. That phone is really far away.
I guess in my head I sort of equated it to, if I get to be funny, that means that I get to be the person I like being. Because I only really tried to be funny when I wasn't pretending to be someone I wasn't.
So technically, I was cheating on my girlfriend for a year, but in my defense, I think relationships are kind of like magazine subscriptions, where if you don't re-up after a year, the shit's over.
I'm thinking what makes the joke a little less funny is that you tip off the punchline.
Yeah.
You keep saying, for a year.
And then I was technically cheating for a little bit.
And then your punchline is, but I think after that first year,
But I think
was
after
good.
that first year, it's kind of like a magazine subscription. If you don't re-up, it's over. Once I stopped going to the Boy Scouts last year, when I stopped going to my Cub Scout meetings last year, I didn't re-up to boys' life. Shit ended, okay?
It's all a means to an end. That's what everything is. And my ends are very general and broad. For example, I want to keep working with people I like Joe Allard and Dez. And if I have to be a comedy writer in order to do that, I can do that.
I've been doing this shit like actually writing it since maybe probably more like 8th grade. Actually writing shit down. Like they say that a third of life is spent in sleep, and I have horrible insomnia. So I mean, I have a leg up on hours lived, the average guy, and I am just spending those extra hours in the worst fucking way possible. Like every single night, I waste my time watching old episodes of Card Sharks. I slept on the living room couch until I was 15, and so my parents also, that's where they hung out, was in the living room. And Well, they didn't have the best marriage, and they would get drunk and they would fight every night. My mom's a raging alcoholic, pretty much. And it actually gets pretty sad because I'll just start getting really attached. It's like that's my replacement for relationships in real life. I develop attachments to contestants on a 40-year-old game show. And it's extra sad when you think about how they're probably all dead by now. They would just fight so much. But the only real saving grace about it was they left the TV on. And so literally every night that I can remember, you know, they'd start fighting. And so what I would do is I would be woken up by them fighting and I just watch TV. I would always be Conan was what was on. When I started sleeping on the couch when I was 3. And Conan premiered in 1993. So Conan had like just premiered, basically. And so, I mean, basically it just developed into comedy equals not sadness for me, basically. It's like if they pick a bad card or something, I just turn into the worst kind of person. Like I turn abusive, like as if they'd done something horrible or deplorable, like they dropped a newborn baby. It's the most primal form of hate that I've ever felt, and it's just like, God damn it, Bill, I told you, make a low bet! A low bet! Or, you know, fuck you, Sally, I always knew you were a bitch. Like, that's really what got me started, is just, I mean, it's really depressing, but I mean, it's just watching Conan every night to tune out the bad and replace it with something good is what did it.
Need to sort of be more energetic. I don't know, I just got the feeling that if you were talking like that on stage, it wouldn't be enough to hook the audience in. Excuse me if I'm rigid and logical.
And filthy.
Filthy.
And the thing that really keeps me doing it is almost that exact same thing, really, is just, Stephen Colbert has a really great quote that's, you can't laugh and be afraid at the same time. And that's like my exact philosophy for why I act like such a fucking ass all the time. Explain what the song is.
The song is called Kathleen. It's by a man named David Gray. I guess the day for us actually performing stand-up is coming up pretty soon, and I'm getting kind of nervous about it. I went to see him in concert, and I was next to a couple of drunk people, and the lady's name was Kathleen. I don't really know how the other two are, but I think they're probably not nervous at all.
It is the night before the show, and I am pretty petrified.
Should I sing it?
Go for it.
I'm not gonna. You like how I got your hopes up there?
I did.
I think if anybody's going to fail horribly, it's gonna be me. I do not think that I belong in that setting, but, you know, I'm gonna try. So I think if anybody has the capacity to fail at all of this, it's me.
How you doing? How's everybody tonight?
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, stepping up on stage, we have the magnanimous, the great Mr. Vincent Hughes. That's the only applause I'll get tonight. I used to be a nerd, and I'm not saying that I got better or I became a social butterfly. I say I used to be a nerd because the other nerds decided I wasn't cool enough to hang out with them anymore. We're done with you, Hughes. It's time you leave the Doctor Who fan club. And I've still maintained most of my old interests from being a nerd. Like, I like to play video games a lot. Anybody here play video games? Of course not. No, you all work the land. Farmers just come into town. No, I play a lot of video games. One video game I'm particularly obsessed with is a game called The Sims. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. But I like The Sims because it is a perfect recreation of real life. At least it is whenever I play it. Because Sim Vince is exactly like real Vince in the sense that all Sim Vince wants to do is sit around all day, play video games, and desperately try to fuck anything unfortunate enough to walk onto his front lawn. It's not all sad things that I like to do with my free time. I'm a bit of a reader. I read occasionally, and I just started reading weird shit for no particular reason. Like the other week, I was reading a health book, just like a health textbook, and towards the back of the book, there was a little box that said, in America, every 35 minutes, an old person dies from a fall. Now that's what the book said. What I read was, in America, an old person falls down every 35 minutes. It's called looking on the bright side. You guys laughed at that. No. Another thing I like to do is I like to waste a lot of time on the internet, of course. And, you know, because I like to waste so much time on the internet, I'm pretty involved with internet politics. Like, I don't know if any of you guys remember SOPA from before you stopped caring a couple months ago. When that whole mess was going on, there was a particularly scary thing that happened. The government shut down a website called megaupload.com, and for those of you who don't know, MegaUpload was a file sharing website, and it was mostly used for just transferring files between people, but the government came in, decided it was illegal, arrested the owners. They arrested the owners of this website. And when that happened, I remember reading an article that said, the owners have been arrested, and the graphic designer for the site, still at large. Still at large. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I always thought that was a phrase reserved for like Al Capone, BTK, Meg Ryan, but no, this graphic designer was still at large. I just wanted to hear the police radio that night where it's just like, okay, we need to bring this guy in now. We know he's armed with a Wacom tablet, a MacBook, and an imagination. We don't know what he's capable of. Shoot on sight. But the other scary thing about that was when the government took the website down, they got their download records. If any of you guys have just learned that, I'm pretty sure you're having the same crisis I did when I found out. You're just thinking, oh shit, the government knows what kind of porn I like. Shit. Nah. You know what I find even more entertaining than porn? Porn ads. Like the ads for these, well, basically it's a fuck hammock. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's like, they call it a sex swing, which in my mind when I first heard that, I imagined like a bigger version of those jungle gyms that really rich parents would buy for their kids, but just with dicks on it. I had that in my head, but it turns out it's a lot less cool. It's basically like a metal pyramid with a hammock suspended by chains. And that's designed to basically aid in the process of fucking. Now, that just seems like some Roman Empire shit to me. I don't know about you guys, but that just seems so extravagant and needless. There should just be jets on that thing that keep you constantly showered in olive oil and a thin layer of anonymous grease. But seriously, I'm just going to lay it down right now. If anybody in this room is considering buying a piece of furniture specifically designed for fucking, you need to fuck less. That's because clearly you've taken all the mystery out of it. It's just, it's not even entertaining anymore. The second you install a fuck hammock, there's a problem. Oh, you guys like fuck hammock, huh? Good to know. Thanks a lot, guys.
38 special.
No shit, guys. Mr. Hughes, come on, everybody get excited.
excited because coming up next we got a wild man. Let me tell you, he's a crazy guy. He's hip, he's hop, he's happening. Mr. Fresh Cup of Joe Allard.
Okay. This is a nice backdrop. It's nice of them to let us perform in the room where the snozberries taste like snozberries. So howdy. I'm single, in case you didn't know. But I think I've narrowed down why I'm single. I've narrowed down to a few things. The first one would have to be my looks. Not that I'm ugly or anything, but I'm disproportionate when you think about it. I have a big round head up top, and then I'm really short and compressed, and I have these tiny little legs. I have to take 3 steps for every regular man, 1. And yeah, here's a better visual for you, aside from just looking at me. You take a walnut and you stack that on top of a lemon, and then just balance those 2 things on 2 baby carrots. That's about right. And down south in the Belt region, well, I won't go into that too much, but I will say last time I went to the doctor, he paused for a minute. Ow! I don't know what that implies about me. I don't know what it implies about him, but I'm just saying, that shit happened. So that's my looks. Oh, I gotta tell you guys about this. Same doctor's visit, in the waiting room. I was just like bored, and they have all those shitty magazines that they have. And I was flipping through a women's magazine, and there was an ad in there. I really wish I could remember it better, but it was an ad for a vagina tightener, some sort of vagina tightening device. There wasn't a picture of it. It was just like a happy woman. But because I guess that just makes it feel grand. Second reason why I'm single is I waste my time a lot. Like, they say that, I just don't use my time wisely. They say that a third of life is spent in sleep, I think, and I have horrible insomnia, so I should have an edge on hours of life lived to the regular guy. But I waste them. I do horrible fucking things with those hours of time. I go to McDonald's and I'm ashamed to bring it home, so I just sit in the parking lot and eat it. I swear to God, I was eating McDonald's in the parking lot, singing along to some 38 special, and there was a nerd just filming me. It was frightening. I didn't know what to do. I just drove away. I might have hit him. I don't know. I got scared. So that's reason number 2, folks. Keep count. That's 2. Third one, big 3, that's what I call them. I have an adherence to puppetry because, I'm trying to be a comedian, and I have to emulate the most successful comedian. Whether I like him or not, that means Jeff Dunham. So... This is a jar, the smooth-talking camel. That's right, fuckers. I do great comedy, better than this fucker here. I do great comedy, I do puns. My brain is like a fucking calculator. Words go in, puns come out, that's the way it goes. So what I'm going to do for you all now, I'm going to pick out a random person in the audience who's definitely not a plant. And I'm going to do a pun on his or his name. How? Let's see. Look at all the people. That guy's got a cowboy hat. You look very striking in your hat, sir. I don't wear hats. I think they're gay. But no, let's pick out someone let's pick this guy here who's standing right in front of me, extremely conveniently. What's your name, sir? What's your name?
Nick Cockrell.
Nick Cockrell. Okay, Nick, I'm gonna do a pun for you. We'll do pun. Name goes in, pun comes out. Nick, your pun name is bitch. It's a pun, you see, I've changed the word around. I know what I do's funny. I like you, bitch. How about some impressions? You all like impressions? Yeah. See, they love me. All right, I'm gonna do an impression for you all. Late musician, John Denver. Okay, late musician, John Denver. Here it is.
We have a lady, the lovely, the supple, the desirous. You want her, you need her, but you just can't have her. Ms. Desiree Freeman.
Okay, you guys having fun? Yeah. All right, well that's about to end. Yeah. All right. So this is my first shot at stand up, and I gotta say I'm a little nervous, you know. So I've been trying to break the ice, you know. Tell you guys something about myself. No fun fact, all right? So you guys can probably tell by my hair and my nerd costume that I am in fact the direct descendant of Medusa and those guys from LMFAO. So I know how, you know, irresistible that combination might make me to some of you, but I'm gonna have to ask you guys to contain your lust, you know, and you just kind of keep it down because, ladies and gentlemen, I am asexual. And I've said a word that no one understands. Good stuff. For those of you who don't know, asexuality basically means that none of you are allowed in, on, or around this. You know, so just tamp down that lust, remember, okay? Turn to your neighbor, you know, maybe you guys can work something out. We're all friends here. All right. It's just kind of hard to believe, I guess. And my friends try to be supportive, even though it's pretty much like, well, no sex. Are you a robot? How do you live? You know, they try to be supportive in their own sadly misguided way. But, you know, they try. And it's hard to believe, but one of my friends, she just will not have it. You know, she doesn't believe it. And she's always trying to sell me on the idea of sex, you know? She's diligent about it, too. She's like, no, seriously, dude, you gotta try it at least once, right? It's awesome. But like I said, no one's really allowed on this. And she's like, no, come on, dude. What kind of friend would I be if I let you go your whole life without being properly, fully immersed in this experience? I'm like, I don't know, but you're creeping me out. So we're having that argument one day, right? She's all, sex is the bee's knees. And I'm like, no, make it stop. And finally she's like, all right, you know what? Just make me a deal, okay? I'm listening, all right. She goes, Desiree, if you don't have sex by your 40th birthday, then I'm having sex with you, okay? And I'm sure some of you are as confused as I was at that moment. What kind of deal is that? I'm like, okay, maybe I'm focusing on the wrong thing here. But you're telling me that I don't get to sleep with young, attractive you. Instead, I have to wait 20 years with no sex to be able to sleep with old cougar you. Now, I'm no expert here, but I seem to have found a flaw in your logic, friend. And I'm like, secondly, I don't ever plan on consenting to that. She's like, you don't have to. And I'm like, so for my 40th birthday, you're gonna rape me? She goes, I think that's up to you. So that's not the best sales pitch for sex that you guys have ever heard. You obviously have better friends than I do. But despite my lack of prospects, for some reason I think I still want to have kids at some point in the future. I know, you're like, you're ace, how does that work? Find a way, it's cool. But, you know, I'm more excited about naming my kids and having them really. And, like, just because as a parent, like, it's the one thing you have complete control over, right? Like, I can't stop my daughter from becoming a prostitute, but if I name her Syphilis, some of those kids are going to think twice before taking her. Yeah, but that's still a long way off. And I don't think I can have a kid until I'm done being a kid myself. Like, I just got a pillow pet recently, and I love it. I mean, like, those things are amazing. Your head hits that pillow, and you are knocked out. That, you know, it's all microfiber and chloroform, as far as I'm concerned. You know, like, I have a theory, though, about why pillow pets were invented, because, like, it's illegal to sleep on a baby, right? Or at least frowned upon, I think we can all agree. So they invented pillow pets, which is basically the same thing. I think that should be their new motto, though. Pillow pets, all the joy and comfort of sleeping on an infant without the guilt. My other theory is that they just couldn't find enough babies to make pillows out of, though. But I always figured they should go the route of every other manufacturer and buy them cheap from China. Yeah. All right, that's my time, guys. Thank you. Good night.
Joe Allard, Desiree Freeman, Vincent Hughes, the Awkward Shuffle Tour. Thank you all for coming out. My name's been Wayne Luck. Thank you once again for coming out, and everybody drive safe. All right, good night. Hi!
What did you think of the show?
Thought it was great. It's a challenge to come up here in front of people, and what a great venue to do it at.
Overall, we all made it through, and that's what we were aiming for, you know. But I think we all did fairly well. None of us thinks that, well, I guess we all have different ideas of how it went in our heads.
I remember Vince getting really consistent laughs, and then I went on stage, and I forgot a bunch of shit, and I broke a light bulb, and then Des got laughs, and I don't really remember what my set was.
I think the show went fine. I do. I was happy with the show overall. I think that Joe and Des both did very good jobs. I'm told that I did very good as well.
I thought it was excellent. Oh my gosh. I got this weird little cramp right about here underneath in between these two ribs, but I was definitely having a great time.
I feel just as bad now as I did before we were doing it. Like, I still feel petrified, even though we finished. Even though it's over with, there was no sense of relief afterward. Any other comedic venture that I've been a part of, I've always had people right there doing it with me, but it was like behind the scenes, I had people, you know, cheering me on and saying that my stuff was good, but, you know, then I had to do it on my own, and I had never experienced that before.
I think it's a successful show because when I left that night, I didn't feel as though I had robbed anybody. I didn't feel as though that we had taken money from them that they didn't need to give us or shouldn't have given us. I felt as though we gave them their money's worth.
I thought the show was 10 times funnier than I ever would have imagined. I would tell any of my friends and all of my friends to come and see this. You gotta come and see this show. Where are you guys gonna be next?
Here. It's not actually
Elvis Gallery. Elvis Gallery.
It's like a tour, but we don't move anywhere.
We tour in place.
Imagine that you don't have to do this anymore. It's not a necessity, and the shows aren't booked, and this was just a one-time thing. Do you think you'd want to do it again?
Maybe.
I think now that I've done it once, and you know, I kind of know how it goes and how I am when I'm performing. If I didn't have other events lined up, I think I would do it again.
It was nice to know I could get laughs, I guess, but like I said, I still feel petrified afterward, and I feel just as bad as I did, you know, coming out as I did going in, so it's kind of like, I could take it or leave it, I guess.
I won't say it was fun on stage, because I don't remember feeling anything on stage, but I remember not feeling depressed. That's not to say it was a good feeling. It's not to say that it made me happy, but it was just, it took away from it in a way that is often unique to things that I can do. It's not something that too many things have the power to achieve. So in that sense, I think it's an interesting idea to do it again. And yeah, I think I'll do it again.
Because I do like it, I do enjoy it, and doing stand-up is actually pretty fun when you're not full of anxiety.
Perhaps, you know, a few more shows down the line, my answer will be a more definitive yes, rather than maybe.
Kids, this is what peer pressure does to you. Alright, you ready? Yeah. When Willie and his wife were trying to fuck.
Hey!
We did it!
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 We did it! We solved racism! Damn you!
This is good news. You know, maybe I do just have to practice it for a while. And I fucking aces. Not aces as in Desiree, but aces as in good to go.
The fiddle is not a very cool instrument. I mean, think about all the famous fiddle players you know. there are only really two. Charlie Daniels and Satan. Those are the only two that have really skyrocketed to household name status.
We need to come up with a clever name for this.
A clever. Oh my god!
Leave it to Enomatic.
If we don't charge money, we can call it the Hughes Freeman Comedy Joe Case.
You can go ahead and cut now.
No, hey!
I want you to cut after Comedy Joe Case.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi you, me how, that means hello and goodbye. Jen, I've got to go. And if you want to say I love you, say why me. Me means you and I means love, and why is the word for me. Big Bird, Don Yow, Big Bird, that's you. Little Lettuce, that's me. Say Chow Fu, now try 'em all at once, ni hao. Chow Fu, Don Yow, and then why me, I love you, Jen. Why me, I love you, Jen.